Taurus, welcome to your mid-October 2018 tarot update. It's Rena. How do you like my Day of the Dead skull with the little airplane plant sticking out of it? I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot as my deck. And I know it was one of you who said to me, why are you picking cards off camera? So if you're watching, I will continue to, because there's no room. And that's just how I do it. You can draw your own conclusions. That's one of my favorite depictions from this deck. Oops, I created like a slight variation on my typical thing, so I'm going to do it in different order, but still it's basically the same, I have to admit. Okay, so even here I have to do these. Okay, there we go. Put that to the side. So the main issue that is, or the main dilemma, is represented by the Three of Cups. Isn't that, this is like one of my favorites, you know, these pen and ink drawings. The color schemes and the, all those lines. But anyway, the Three of Cups is a card of celebration. It can be that you're with your friends and you're just letting your hair down. There might be a specific thing that you're excited about. Perhaps for some people it's an engagement or a success at work. Or I actually, you know, now that I want to do the past history that might be informing this, I get the Five of Pentacles. It's interesting because I thought this was cups, you know, just from the distance. This seems like an emotional kind of a reaction here. But the Five of Pentacles is about perhaps job loss, money problems, things like that. So if there's something to celebrate, then some Taurus people may be in a new job or about to start a new job. And that might be such a great relief to you that you had to call people up and really spread the good news about that. There could be a situation where you are perhaps coming off of a negative or disappointing relationship with someone who is a Pentacles. I actually do have another card that is connected to Pentacles, so I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are dealing with a fellow Earth sign. And if they're not, if their sun isn't in Earth, they have probably at least the rising that they give this solid appearance, and they might tend to be very rational and grounded. But perhaps you and that person were not a match. So we're talking about either a fellow Taurus, a Virgo, or Capricorn. And just to let you know, I mean, even though we say that other signs of our element form a trine with us, which is the friendliest angle, it doesn't mean that you're going to naturally get along with people of that sign. And I am proof positive of that in terms of my sun sign being Sagittarius with other fire signs. It doesn't automatically guarantee that. So even if it's somebody with the same element as you, there still might be enough differences that you cannot get along on a regular basis. And so maybe you're over that. And I could definitely see you calling somebody up because you're starting to like get back into being interested in other people. Maybe you were kind of putting your friendships to the side because you had this person in your life. I could see a Taurus person totally absorbing themselves in a relationship and kind of letting their friendships slack off, you know. And that's not good because you don't want to devote all your attention to one person and neglect your friendships. The Three of Cups, because it's number 3, it could be talking about a threesome. I always say that instead of saying a lover's triangle. And in that particular case, for instance, if it's a lover's triangle, there may be a situation where you are like, I'm going to fight for my man, and I don't care. And, you know, it's not that I tell people what to do, but if you're involved with somebody who's cheating on you and you're fighting for that person, you really have to, I was going to say get your head examined, but what I mean is that is what you're fighting for worth it? Of course, they're a human being, and so they have value in life, but I mean, is being with a person like that worth it? Can you trust this person? Do you feel like they're really good for you? And it's something that you shouldn't neglect to kind of look at, for sure. Another Pentacles. I didn't even see it from this distance. These are the outer influences that are affecting your life at this time, and this is the Two of Pentacles. And this can be if you have a second job that you're being pulled very thin. Maybe you're maybe you had money problems and now you're cobbling together a couple of sources of income, and they're crazy hours, and you have like, you know, like I could see somebody working in the morning and then coming home for a few hours, taking a nap, and then working at night. And this can leave you feeling a little harried. This can be that there is another earth sign, but I get this feeling of maybe Gemini in there too. The Roman numeral 2 is a symbol for Gemini. For some reason I thought of Gemini, because the kind of behavior that the Two of Pentacles represents reminds me of Gemini, where it's like a juggling act. In the Rider-Waite version, there's a juggler, and I associate with, you know, Gemini with doing two things at once. It could be juggling two relationships, and if this is the other party that's doing it, it's possible that you feel this sense of being like caught in the middle. But who knows? Maybe you're the one that's juggling the relationships. Maybe the Five of Pentacles is this person that you've met, this fellow earth sign, and perhaps, you know, that you could still be single and they could be married too. So I mean, there's all different permutations here. The challenge to you is represented by the Seven of Pentacles. I think this is a challenge, or oh, I'm sorry, this is 6. Okay, this is the one thing I have to watch out for these cards, because it's very easy for me to misread the numerals because it's the way that the cards are. Now, the Six of Pentacles connects to fairness in energy. Well, some people might say that's not what it means. Let me see if I can find, it's not really a depiction that, you know, illustrates it in the way that I typically see. If I can't find it in 2 seconds, I'll give up trying. But the Six of Pentacles indicates that a person is giving and another person receiving when it comes to a monetary gift. It doesn't have to be a gift, but, you know, money. And so the person who is giving is holding scales. Now, I always find that interesting because it's almost like saying that that person who is the one with the money feels a sense of obligation maybe to help out somebody who's less fortunate. And I suppose that you could be the one who is, okay, here it is, finally. Let me put this down here. You see that these people are, you know, on their knees. So they're obviously beggars, and they seem to be in a position of great need. And the person dressed in finery is holding the scales and giving them the coins in their outstretched hands. Okay, so typically this can mean like you're helping somebody else out because you have the money to do so. And this could be like, you know, family members or a friend or something like that. However, if there's some love situation going here, which is like what I've been focusing on, it just like kind of captivated me to talk about it in terms of love. In the other readings I've done thus far, I've been talking about more business matters. So I didn't automatically go into a relationship with this. It just felt like it. Maybe because the central card was a Cups card, I felt like this was an emotional issue. And if the Six of Pentacles is connected to this particular card, then it can mean something along the lines of, to me at least, that there has to be this equal exchange of energy, money, currency, energy. Doesn't mean I bought you dinner last week and it cost, you know, $30, so it's time for you to pay, and, or whatever, whether it's a friend, whether it's a partner. But the thing is with Taurus, there can be a tendency with some Taurians to perhaps try to buy a relationship and think that you own the person. Taurus rules the second house of earned income and possessions. And Taurus is known for being possessive. An earth sign, there's always a price for everything. Even love has a price. No, it does not. And there might be some Taurus people out there who are very pragmatic about it and say, no, I know that if I open my pocketbook, that I'm going to make this person happy. And if they're happy, they're going to want to be with me, and that's all good, you know, whatever it takes. And I'm telling you that that relationship is not what love is about. Now, you know, that doesn't mean that you can't have a relationship that's not based on love, but money and love don't mix. And I guess it's just my opinion. So this is something that maybe you have to struggle with to understand that it's not true, that it's not, that love is not predicated on how much money you spend on someone. Just having a sip of my tea. And so just seeing how that figures into patterns in your life. If you're going into business with a friend, I mean with a group of friends, you know, when I see that Three of Cups, I could see like some sort of, maybe you've been unemployed and you're joining forces with friends. And it again, you have to make sure that you're not investing all of the money into something and they're not doing their part. So the advice is represented by the Nine of Swords in reverse. I love this card so much. In the upright position, I just want to make sure that is a 9. But I knew what it was because I know it's such a distinctive card. That's a card of anxiety. So we're saying, look at what causes you anxiety. Look at what triggers you. With the Five of Pentacles, you know, these cards are aligned with one another. It can sometimes indicate that you might settle for less because you're afraid of not being able to earn money. So you're willing to stay in a situation that you've outgrown, maybe, that doesn't serve you. Also, that you're not getting paid properly. Even though this is connected to a new situation, you have to be careful that you know what you're worth and that you expect to get paid what you're worth. And also, I would say too, is anything that you can do to reduce anxiety is helpful. One of the greatest things about being on a spiritual path, which simply means that you view life from a different lens, you're not just looking at it from the worldly point of view, is that you don't make a big deal out of these worldly matters. You have a better perspective. You can see beyond the immediate, and you know that those kind of things can come and go, but that the real important things are related to your spiritual life, and that is what you are all about. And I also think that, you know, anxiety is starting to leave you because maybe you're becoming more concerned with your freedom and your happiness. With the Two of Pentacles, you can have a hectic life, but it might feel more flexible to you. Maybe you were in a 9-to-5 job and you were kind of stuck, and even if you did lose your job recently, maybe at the time of the full moon in your sign even, that you were able to, you know, if you're working a couple of part-time jobs, you might feel like, you know what, I'm actually able to live my life because I'm not tired. I don't have to, I have like kind of weird hours, but they allow me to have a day off on a Tuesday. And that feels great because there's nobody else around and I don't have to like kind of fight my way through crowds or anything. And when I go shopping or stuff like that. And I say that because I used to work retail. And I loved the kind of irregular hours because a lot of times it was great to have that Tuesday or Thursday off when everybody was gone. Now it seems like there's people around all the time. So there might be a lot of people who are working irregular hours these days. And then the outcome is the Mother of Cups, which connects to the Queen of Cups. So, you know, speaking of the spiritual side of things, this can be like you getting involved in something that is spiritual. Maybe you have some interest in healing art, the healing arts, and you want to take a workshop or you want to take a course. As it relates to a relationship, your psychic ability might really be becoming better honed. And actually this is true because Uranus is in your sign. Now I'm trying to think about the end of the month if it will still be there. I think it will. You know what's interesting? Hello, you're having your, I keep, you know, because I'm doing different types of readings, so in some of them the full moon has already passed. You're going to have your full moon in Taurus on October 24th, so that's in this time period. So that could be why I was saying that you're kind of coming to terms with certain things in your life that can make you more psychic. Full moon is a psychic influence, but also just talking about having Uranus. Uranus will be engaged in that full moon. I think it's at 0 degrees of Taurus. But it will be going back into Aries at some point. But when it goes back into Taurus, I think in early 2019, it's going to be in your sign. And you may find that you're branching out in unusual ways. But it could have something to do with the intuitive arts. Maybe astrology. Astrology is a big thing with Aquarius, or Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius. And anything that deals with psychic things. The Queen of Cups would be a very fertile kind of an energy. So especially at the time of your full moon, be careful about unplanned pregnancies, because that could possibly be something, even though that's more of the 5th house and things like that. I still think that if it's in your sign, just keep an eye out for that, because the Queen represents the mother. And maybe there is some woman who's kind of like either a mother figure to you or your actual mother, who is going to help you, is going to, you know, especially if maybe even financially, but the Queen of Cups is more of a nurturing energy. So whatever that means for you specifically, not sure. Could certainly be a facet of you at this time. Okay, Taurus, that's what I have for you. If you'd like a private reading, please follow the link below this video. I wish you a great rest of October. Bye.